Hey everybody, I'm sorry if this video seems really short or rushed. There was a situation going on today. It's still ongoing actually, and it's been hours. I don't really know what's going on. I just know that there are people with if you're part of my Discord, you probably know a lot more of what's happening because I've been posting about it in there with pictures and everything, but like the FBI is outside for some reason, not at my building, but the building right next to mine, and blocked off everything. So I have been watching what's going on and everything. So I apologize for the brevity of the video. If it seems like I'm a little distracted, that's what it is. But I wanted to make sure that I got this video out for you guys. All right. Hey Pickle Peeps, thank you for joining me for another monthly wrap-up. I'm your host, Voodoo Pickles, and today we're going to be talking about the books that I read in May. Yeah, because this month's June. It's June right now. So May was a slow reading month for me. I was trying to spend some more time reading some different things, and I was just, you know what? It wasn't a priority for me this month. TBH, but that's okay. We were able to finish at least one book, which is my goal for this year. And I'm trying to figure out that sweet spot of how many books I can usually finish in a month. So I have just been keeping track of how many things that I'm doing. And so we got 2 books this month, which is pretty great. And they were pretty awesome books. So the first book that we read this month was Sphere. This is written by Michael Crichton. I read this physically, and it's about 522 pages. And and Steve, everybody. So this book follows a group of civilian scientists and a group of naval personnel that were sent to check out a ship, a crash-landed ship that was found at the bottom of the ocean. And this is a really good book. What I really enjoy by Michael Crichton is he does a lot of like science-y things. If you guys don't know, Michael Crichton was super smart, like ridiculously smart, and he puts a lot of science into his books, which I enjoy it, and it brings up little nuanced things that like I have some problems with continuity wise and like other books or movies or stories or anything like that, and it was really great. So we mostly follow Norman. Norman is a psychologist who was approached by the government years before the events of this book happened to create a contingency plan for the government or for anybody if they were to meet alien life forms. And he thought it was a throwaway thing. He was just like, I just need the money from this grant. It's fine. It's whatever. And so he creates a whole document for this. And when they find this ship, the military does follow the protocol that he put forth in this government document. And he's surprised by this throughout the whole book. And it's really great. When they go down into the ocean, they find a sphere. And the sphere is not really the center of what happens. I'm not going to say anything to spoil it. Like all of this you can read on back of the book. And it was really great. The way that you see the characters interact. And then even when things become like stereotypy or stereotypical, that's the word. When things become stereotypical, you're still like, oh, there's a reason for that. There's a reason for that. And this is the second book that I've read recently with Michael Crichton since I've started like keeping track of what I'm reading and everything. The first one was Congo, which was made into a movie. And this one was also made into a movie with Dustin Hoffman and Lee Shriver was in it. I was like, how did I not know this? Lee Shriver was in it. I thought that the Sphere movie was actually The Abyss, which it wasn't. And then I watched the movie, and the movie was disappointing. TBH, not gonna lie. But the way that the things unfold into in the book with the characters and everything, I was like, yes. And then you get the one character that I thought was gonna annoy me did not. And another character that I was like, oh no, I'll be able to identify with this character. No, I was not. And that was pretty great. It was a pretty good like setup and how the way everything twists and turns, and at the end, it's such a good book. I highly recommend it. I rated this a 4.5 out of 5. I really have been enjoying Michael Crichton's writing. The way that the amount of detail and the amount of things that I think to ask in books, especially having to do within a different environment, especially this one is at the bottom of the ocean, which is terrifying, absolutely terrifying. That was the most freaky thing for me about this book was the setting. I don't do well with large bodies of water, so part was terrifying. And then watching the movie, hearing like the things underwater where things are echoing and banging on the thing, like oh, it was good. It was good. I really enjoyed it. The second book that we read this month is called Alice. This one is the first book in the Chronicles of Alice series. This was written by Christina Henry. I read this digitally and it was about 304 pages. And this book reminded me of Alice Madness Returns, the game that was released in 2011. If you guys haven't seen it, I definitely recommend it. It's one of my favorite games to play. I really enjoy it. I played it on stream a couple of years ago, I think, at this point. And it's a really good game. It's a darker side of the Alice in Wonderland story, and this book was very much on the darker side. It was really like dark enough that it shocked me because I had no idea. I just picked it up because there was a rabbit on the thing and it said Alice. And I was like, cool, Alice in Wonderland. I love that story and I love the little spin-offs that happen from it. So I'm just gonna read it. It is dark. It is super dark. If you have any type of triggers, definitely check the trigger list before reading this book. Like it gets bad. And I don't know how many are in this series. I did see that there's at least 2 more books in this series, but I don't know how many are actually in the whole series. But this book, and just like the game, follows Alice if she went into an asylum and went into some type of care. So in this story, Alice is in an asylum. And instead of putting this in like New York or London or that type of setting, it is a fictional city, except there's fictional place. There's 2 cities. There's one that's called the Old City, which is where all like the low income people are, where all the gangs are, where all like the riffraff of the city are. And they're all kept into this one town called the Old City. And then right next to it is called the New City. And that's where all the rich, shiny people live. Alice was a rich, shiny person until something very traumatic happened to her. And now she's in this asylum in the Old City. And it's great. I don't want to give too much away from it because it reads very fast. It doesn't read like it's 300 plus pages. It reads like it's 100 and something pages. It just keeps going and going and going and going and going. And like I said, if you know anything about the game, Alice Madness Returns, is kind of similar to that, except this book is way darker than that. So definitely check out the trigger list. I rated this a 3.25 out of, I'm sorry, a 4.25 out of 5. I mean, if you don't mind reading into that darker side of things and you like the Alice in Wonderland story of like that, and the way that they explain the characters that you're that you're familiar with in this new setting was pretty great. It was pretty great. I really enjoyed being like, oh, I know what they're talking about. And then having to imagine and picture these things in my head, I was just like, wow. Yeah, this is definitely not from everyone, but I will definitely be reading the second book. But those are the 2 books that I read this month. Like I said, I didn't make reading a priority this month. And going into this next one will probably be a lot better. I'm currently reading right now 12 Extraordinary Women, written by John MacArthur, and I actually just finished that one this morning, but that'll count to June because I finished it in June. I'm reading Icebound by Dean Koontz and Don't Fear the Reaper, which is the second book in the Indian Lake trilogy by Stephen Graham Jones, and I am also starting Red Queen, which is the second book in the Alice Chronicle series. So that's it. It's exciting. This month will be a lot better, but last month was, like I said, it's not a race. We're not trying to beat anybody. We're just trying to read more and read more deeply, which requires slowing down sometimes. And thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. I really appreciate it. What did you guys read this month? Have you guys read either one of these books? Have you guys seen the movie of Sphere? Have you guys played the game Alice Madness Returns? Every time I talk about it, nobody knows what I'm talking about. So somebody please validate that they played this game and it's great. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. Don't forget to do all of the YouTube things, like, subscribe, all of that. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.